Good morning, all the 12th class of political science. Today, we are going to start our second book and uh, challenges of nation building. It is our first chapter of the India after independence. This is the name of the book, India after independence, and we are going to start our first chapter, challenges of nation building. So there is a speech which was delivered by the first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, and here is a three words ties with destiny. It was the speech given by the Jawaharlal Nehru. It is very important if you are preparing for the UPSC, and this speech was given at the time of midnight of 14-15 August 1947, and the Jawaharlal Nehru, first PM of the India, addressed to the special session of the Constituent Assembly, tasked with the dynasty speech. What do you mean by the Constituent Assembly? Actually, we call it the temporary government because you know that that 1951 to 1952, it was the time then the first general election was held, and in 1950 there was the establishment of the election commission. So before the government was formed, that we had a constituent assembly, and we call it the temporary government. And in front of the temporary government, Jawaharlal Nehru delivered the speech tasked with the destiny. Here is the speech which was delivered by the first PM Jawaharlal Nehru. So you will study it yourself, but I would like to give some. Long years ago, we made a test with the destiny. Actually, this was the speech regarding the freedom, and the last long substress finds utterance. It means that इतने ज़्यादा हैवी जो वर्ड्स यूज़ किए गए हैं, utterance, यानी ये हिस्टोरिकल, it was telling about the historical background of the India, and why we was fighting for. Actually, we was fighting for the freedom. The next is, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measures, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hours, when the world sleeps, India will awake. Actually, Jawaharlal Nehru delivered this speech on the Red Fort, and he was hosting the flag on the Red Fort, and he was saying that the whole world sleeps, but India awake, because it was the time of 14 and 15 August, and the time was midnight, यानी जो आधी रात का समय था, and which comes but rarely in history when we step out from the old to the new. And it was a time then we are existing in the modern world, yani old to the new world. When an age ends, and when the soul of a nation long suppressed finds utterance, and we are going towards converting towards the new soul, यानी एक नई आत्मा की खोज में हम जा रहे हैं, and we are building a nation. And after the, I want to tell the historical background of the nation building, challenges of the nation building. Actually, your book, जो second book है, that of this first chapter, challenges of the nation building, because this word is using challenges means our country was not unified. There was no unification. It was divided into 5, 6, 7 princely states, and there was a disintegration. Disintegration means that the division of the division of the countries. It was division of the princely state in 5, 6, 7 princely states and provinces, British provinces. It was divided. अगर आप imagine करोगे, if you imagine that our one country, now we are having the one country because of the सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल, जिसे हम लोह पुरुष कहते हैं, आयरन मैन. And because of him, we are having a unified country, India, because a lot of struggle behind this. So here at the time of 14 and 15 August, then we all are know that India was not a democratic country, but after the 14 and 15 August, we want democracy. There was two goals. One, that after independence we shall run our country through democratic government, because there was not a democratic form of the government. And I want to tell this word, democratic form of the government. What do you mean by this word? Because India was not a democratic country, because if you want to fulfill the democratic country, then there should be two things: that the right to vote, but we did not have the right to cast the vote. And the second is by the people, a government by the people, for the people, and of the people, according to the Abraham Lincoln and the president of the USA. So there was not a democratic form of the government, because demos, the public at that time, before the 14 or 15 August 1947, we did not have a democratic form of the government. We did not have a particular identity, because if you are having the fundamental rights to cast the vote, it means you are having the democratic government. So this first, this goal we wanted at that time. And the second goal was the government will be run for the good of all, particularly the poor and the socially disadvantaged groups. Yes, this goal also wanted to achieve, because if you will observe, if you will go to the ancient history of the India, then you will observe that the especially backward class, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, they did not have a particular right like the general caste. So they were totally disadvantaged groups, and they were underprivileged, or we can say that the weaker section of the Indian society. So we wanted to achieve this goal also, but not easy, because the partition 1947 violence or leaders faced challenge. Yes, हमें पता है कि we in 19 we all are know about 1947 violence. Now I want to tell you the next topic is three challenges. Here is the main topic about the three challenges. Here are the two goals, and to achieve these two goals, we were having the three challenges. First one is the first and the immediate challenge was to shape a nation that was united yet accommodative of the diversity in our society. Diversity, because I have earlier told you that India was not a unified country. So we wanted a shape of a nation, or a unified nation, because we were having a diverse society, diverse on the basis of the religion, on the basis of the caste, on the basis of the linguistic means language, on the basis of color. So so this was the first challenge, and the second challenge was to establish democracy. Yes, I have told you earlier in the first goal that India was having the first goal, the democratic government, and challenge also how to fulfill this challenge. The second challenge was to establish democracy. First, how it would be the possible. जो चैलेंज है वो कैसे एस्टेब्लिश करेंगे. राइट टू वोट, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल to give right to vote to all. Second is representative government. It means the direct, if you are having the vote to cast the vote in a democratic form of the government, then it means you can elect your representative, and this representative government, we call it the representative government or elected government through the direct and the indirect democracy. Third, a democratic constitution is necessary but not sufficient for establishing a democracy. Yes, a democratic constitution is necessary but not sufficient for the establishing a democracy. Yes, democratic constitution is needed, but how it is possible? Actually, in a form of the democratic constitution, we need some distribution of the powers also, and a limitation also, so that we may fulfill this challenge. The next is, the challenge was to develop democratic practices in accordance with the constitution. So जो fourth है इसमें जो point दिया हुआ है, the challenge was to develop democratic practices in the accordance of the constitution. We have to develop all the practices. There should be provided the authority to the common people, so that's why they can fulfill their second challenge. Third is, the third challenge was to ensure the development and well-being to the entire society and not only of some sections. Yes, there was a needed of this type of the challenge. The third challenge was there should not be any kind of the discrimination, for example poor as well as the rich, rich section. So there should be equality in all the sections of the society. So there are some principles to fulfill this challenge. First, principle of the equality. Yes, to provide all the citizens of India and give the all fundamental rights to all the people. Second is special protection to socially disadvantages, or we can say that underprivileged group, and religious and the cultural communities. Yes, special protection. For example, I have given reservation. I have given you the instance of the reservation. If you will provide the reservation, for example, at that time 1947 or at the time of 26th of November 1950, in our constitution there is a mention of the reservation, that we should provide the reservation of the 10 years to the socially disadvantaged group. So we may get the equality for all the weaker sections. So special protection to the socially disadvantaged groups and the religious and the cultural communities. Cultural communities means that Sikh, Mohammedans, etc., or we can say the Christian community, etc. And religious means Mohammedans, Jain, Buddhism, etc. हाँ जी. Third is DPSP, direct principle of state policy. This directive principle, we should follow these type of the principle. It is mentioned in article 30, 36 to 51. So there is we should follow the directive principle of state policy. For example, there is the equality before the law. We have lot of examples. There are 4 types of the principle. First is socialistic principle, second is Gandhian principle, liberal principle. For example, in Gandhian principle, there is a mention of the in article 21A, there is a process of 6 to 14 years child should get the education free of cost. Especially it is provision for the girls also. So we have taken a lot of things in our fundamental rights from the directive principle of state policy. So we should follow this to achieve this challenge. And the fourth, the real challenge new now was to evolve effective policies for the economic development and the eradication of the poverty. And the eradication of the poverty, we should allow some economic and socially policies, effective policy, so that the poverty eradication means to finish, to end the poverty. So we have covered the two topics or some general instructions about the challenge of the nation building, and we have covered the two topic in a depthly, two goals, and the second one is the three challenges. So tomorrow we will study about the process of the partition. Take care.